Okay, we're coming to that time of the year where we're getting near the end of the school year. There's going to be new college graduates, and then there's also a bunch of other people, some in high school, and especially to those of you in college that are moving on to the next grade, or now you're literally done with college and you're just graduating and you would be getting your diploma, but right now that's probably not going to happen in the traditional way because of all the lockdowns and quarantines and schools being closed. So this is a really interesting time to be alive, especially when you're just going into the workforce. You're just going into that age where you're kind of like, oh my gosh, I have to think about money and make money and do something with my life, and what should I do? And it's really confusing with so many people out of jobs now, and we're all at home all the time and everything's on the computer right now. So in this video, I want to share with you some advice to help you get a high-paying job, and more importantly, create a high-paying career and make money and become successful on your own terms. So let's dive right into this video. Okay, really step number one and the most important thing is you should be starting a business right now. Here's why. First of all, if you're just graduating college, chances are you're not going to get a job right now with everything going on in the world unless you have a very specific industry, biotech, things like that, that are actually getting a lot of venture capital right now, and they don't seem to be slowing down. Second of all, what's more important right now in your younger years isn't even the stability that a job can provide, maybe more so in your middle age or when you have kids and you want that stability. Right now, you shouldn't be focusing on stability. Right now, you should be focusing on what are opportunities that with all the energy that I have in the younger years of my life, what is something I can devote my energy into where I can totally pour myself into it right now, and 2 years down the road or 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road, it could be $1 million or a multi-million-dollar business or opportunity that you created for yourself because you didn't have a lot of risk in the early years because you're so young. You just got out of college, or you're just getting out of college, or you're still in college. There's so many stories of people that have built very successful businesses while they're in college. I mean, obviously the first one that immediately comes to mind is going to be like a Steve Jobs dropping out, Mark Zuckerberg creating his company. I know that it's across the board. But there's also more modern people building internet businesses right now. You have nothing to lose, and the reality is that there's two ways for you to become rich in life ultimately. And one of them is going to be what MJ DeMarco calls the fast lane. So the slow lane is the opposite, which is immediately try to find a steady job, and a steady job is $50,000 a year is the average American salary, and with some benefits. The reality is, with all the money printing and all the money inflation going on, prices are going to be higher. $50,000 5 or 10 years from now is going to be significantly less than it is right now. And so you need to set your sights higher. You need to set your sights a lot higher. And while you're youngest and you have the most energy, and therefore the risk isn't even a big risk, that's when everything changes. And I know this from my own experience because I was 19 years old when I decided to drop out of college. I backpacked around the world. I wanted to be a writer, so I wrote my first book called Into the Wind, My 6-Month Journey Wandering the World for Life's Purpose. Dropped out of college. I came back. I wrote the book when I was 20. I couldn't get it published, but I was trying to get it published when I was 20. And then I eventually spent a year trying to really get it out there. I had to self-publish a book, right? So I was able to, because I was 20, 21 years old. I didn't have any expenses. I didn't have anything to risk. I didn't have any credit card debt. I didn't have any student loan debt. And I could always go back to school if it didn't work out. I decided to full-time try to sell my books. So I sold them out of the trunk of my car, went to farmers markets every day and sold books next to the person selling kale and pasture-raised eggs. I did open mics at coffee shops where all the musicians play. I was doing speeches about my book, if you can imagine that. And I did anything and anything I could. Youth groups, YMCAs, local book club, anything. Local bookstores, it didn't matter. All I was trying to do was just sell one more book, one more book, one more book. And I eventually was able to build momentum, sell 20,000 of those copies. By the time I was about 22, I had a book contract with Penguin Random House, the #1 New York publishing company in the world. Now, a lot of people told me I should just wait, right? They said, just go back to school. You can go to school for writing and then you'll be better prepared. No one makes money as a writer in their early 20s. You know, you can't make money that way. And so I did the opposite of that. And the reality is, now that I'm 28 years old and having turned it into a multi-million-dollar business and brand, the reality is I've been doing it for 10 years. So I look, you know, quote unquote young, or my age, maybe I don't look young, but my number of 28 years with respective to my income level is greater than most people in their 20s. And it's not because I'm particularly smarter. I just happen to stumble on the fast track, and that's what MJ DeMarco talks about in the book. He calls it the fast lane, the fast lane millionaire. And this is the individual that uses a quicker time track to make their money. We talked about how we're told as soon as when we're in our 20s, go find something stable, right? Even if it's a significant underpay and there's not that much room to advance in the industry or the career path. And then we keep that until we're 65, 70. We were supposed to put, you know, whatever, $500 a month or into our Roth IRAs, and we'll be millionaires when we're 72 and a half. And so, first of all, if you look at all of the richest people in the world, they actually had huge explosions in their income. It wasn't from 60 years of putting $300 away into their Roth IRA for a job they hate, doing that for 50 years because they're promised prosperity 50 years later and they can't take the money out because they're going to get penalties. The people that really do it are people that come up with a business idea or a service or a product or an invention, or they can fine-tune ones that are already profitable. And what happens is you give yourself the opportunity to have quantum leaps in your income. And this is what MJ DeMarco talks about being a fast lane millionaire. If you're on the Millionaire Fastlane, you have a business system or an idea that is based off of leverage. So instead of every single year making $40,000 a year, you could go from $10,000 to $11,000 to $1 million the next year. It took me about 18 months, I heard somebody say, to turn your annual income into your monthly income. So take whatever you make in a year. Let's say you make $40,000 in a year. Make your goal to make that every month or in a month. Take your annual income into your monthly income. And somebody said for me to make that a goal. So I decided, I was like, I'll give it a try. But the only way to do that is you need a system of income that is scalable, leveraged with other people, with systems, with softwares, with the internet, with social media, with what have you. And it needs to be a service or a product or an idea that you are not bound directly trading your time for money at a 40-hour-a-week opportunity. Not because that's bad or wrong, but just because now that we're learning more about money, the way that you have a significant jump in your income and make a lot of money in a quick period of time is you need a model of business. You need a style of income that is not bound directly for time for money, because that's what increases your income ceiling. If, say, at 21 years old, you get this job in an accounting place working for somebody else and you just kind of do the work at 20 bucks an hour. The real accountant that runs the business, we'll call it Anderson CPA Company. Well, Mr. Anderson was a CPA, realized his income was capped, so instead he created a company, brought on a bunch of other CPAs to do the work, and he's out there closing the big deals, fielding clients in, working and overseeing from a real business perspective. And this has given him the leverage to be able to make a lot more money than you are making as the one performing the services on his behalf. This is called business. This is called leverage. This is called scalability. And to the degree that you can use the early years of your life to try and fail and succeed at this model of income earning, what happens is you have a lower risk to reward ratio in that you have very little risk because you're young enough. You're just getting out of college, or maybe you're still in college. You just start focusing on growing whatever it is, utilizing the internet, utilizing the fact that the worst case scenario isn't really bad because you're young enough. And if you can master something, whether it's sales or whether it's coding or whether it's a certain app you have or whether it's your music, and you could get 100,000 YouTube subscribers right now if you start focusing while you're still in college, or maybe you want to build a record label, so you use this time right now to go scour YouTube and find your first 10 epic musicians and you help brand them online and blow their videos up. I'm just spitballing ideas, but the point is, whatever it is that you're interested in, if you can devote the energy now, you can put yourself on the fast track to money, or as MJ DeMarco calls it, you can put yourself on the Millionaire Fastlane, and that will give you the opportunity to truly create the most success in your life. It's like, why do we go to college? Why do we get educated? Why do we do these things? Well, because we're told that we'll be successful at it. But the reality is, if that were true, every single person would be rich and successful, but they're not. And there's a lot of people that go to school that don't become successful. What's the difference? The difference is actually in their income earning models. So right now, use this time to start using your extra energy to grow a business or create an income source that is scalable and has leverage. So all of that being the reality of the situation, here are some quick lessons and habits to apply that can get you on the fast track right now in your 20s. Number one is be able to make a decision. Now, you need to be able to make a decision to focus on one thing or two things. The problem that most people have is they're never able to make decisions. They go, I don't know what to do, or I have too many things to do. So they stay in this pattern where by default they fail because they never make a decision. The word decision literally means, it's Latin, and the meaning of the word is to kill off any other alternatives. So how do most people live? They start and stop a million different things in their whole life. Their problem isn't how smart they are. They have the college degrees. They did all the thing. Well, why aren't they successful? And it's because they never make clear decisions. And so the reality of the situation is, when you are young enough, you should be using the time that you have to get really good at something. You are paid, the world pays you based off of you doing something that provides utility to the world, that provides value to somebody's life, customers, or a business that you work for. You are providing value from a skill that you have. Well, the thing is, most people don't focus on skills, they focus on general information. So the question is, what's your skills? And the question is not, what skills are you good at? That's not what we're asking right now. We're saying, what are the skills that you want to be good at? Those are two very different questions. What are the skills you want to be good at are different than what are the skills that you are good at. And, well, I'm not good at any skills, so I guess I'm screwed. No, we're saying, what do you want to be good at? So then the question is, what do you think? Are you interested in coding? Are you interested in music? Are you interested in creating a record label? Are you interested in creating apps? Are you interested in creating a movement that changes the education system, feeds the hungry, clothes the needy? Are you interested in creating a new technology? Are you wanting to work in natural resources? Are you wanting to be in fashion? I don't know. The reality is we've been programmed to not even ask these really simple questions, because you can't make money that way, you can't make money that way, this is what you need to do, and we all walk the path that isn't even ours. And we pretty much turn into little robots that really aren't very good at anything other than we take up a lot of space. And that's why we never really advance very far in our careers. That's why we never become really successful as we could. So pick something. And if you don't know what it is, make a list. Pull out a piece of paper and say possible income skills. Possible income skills. Write that on the top of the paper. Possible income skills. And write them out. Well, maybe I'd be interested in coding. Maybe it's AI, artificial intelligence. Maybe I'm interested in technology. Maybe I'm interested in editing. Maybe I want to be an accountant or a bookkeeper. Maybe I think it would be a good idea to do digital marketing. Right now, so many businesses are moving almost entirely online. Well, maybe I could be somebody that could have these be a business-to-business consultation company that helps train companies to go online and utilize YouTube or Instagram or social media. Or maybe I'm going to be really good at local ads by zip codes to help local businesses and dentists and chiropractors to run ads on YouTube and Instagram and Google based off of zip codes to a lead page that gets somebody's information that has a neck pain in your similar area code, and the chiropractor calls and sells them into a service, and now you have a utility. And your utility is you are helping the chiropractic company to generate more leads, which generates more sales, which helps more people, which turns into a cycle of referrals, and the business continues to grow. Now all of a sudden you have utility, you have an income earning skill. And the reality is, a lot of people will get, well, what business should I do? What skill should I do? It just depends on you. Sales. You could not even know what business you want to get in, but recognize, how does everything evolve? How does everything in the economy grow? Sales. Sales of cars, sales of computers, sales of TVs, sales of shoes, sales of carpet, sales of hats, sales of clothes, sales of types of clothes, sales of supplements, sales of organic versus non-organic, it's real estate, right? I could go on forever, and I won't. Sales. So that could be what it is. And your high income skill that you're going to develop, the income earning activity you're going to get good at, is going to be that you are going to be a great salesperson. Well, maybe it would be a good idea to find the top real estate person in your area. And you go, well, I don't want to do real estate. Okay, but you could still learn sales skills and make that a job opportunity, or go sell gym memberships, or there's a million things, right, that you could go sell, whatever it might be. And there's going to be things that are going to be more valuable and less valuable right now based off of the state of the economy and social distancing and stuff. You could sell software. Like, there's a million things that you could sell if you just spend the time and you find out what are good things that would be worth doing. Well, does the company that would hire me, do they have a sales training program? Do they have sales material I can study so I can get better at it? These should be the questions to ask, because right now at your age, if you're 19 years old or 21 years old, if you focus on selling some insurance, maybe you sell life insurance or health insurance. I purchase life insurance, health insurance, and there's a lot of people that do quite well at that. The list is endless, right? But the point is, if you focused on that one thing for 5 years, at 21 years old, you did the same thing, the same skill, coding, management, bookkeeping, whatever it is, you did that for 5 years, chances are you would become close to in the top percentile of your field for your age range, which puts you in an incredible opportunity to have something take off, for your income to grow, for you to be more valuable, and to position yourself for a very high income earning career. Okay, so now that we've established the importance of making a clear decision and ultimately pursuing that skill to develop that, and we've established very simply the goal is make a decision to become the best at something, whatever it is. the best at something. I'm going to commit to becoming the best at X, Y, Z, accounting, coding, this, that, whatever it is. Now, the next step to consider is, if you are just graduating college or you are still in college, find someone who's good at whatever it is, who's successful at whatever that thing, and ask them to mentor you. This is how I advanced my entire career. When I was 19 years old, all the publishing companies said no, I didn't know what to do. I reached out to all the authors I was inspired by. Like, I reached out, I developed an actual friendship and mentorship where I learned from people, where I learned from one of the top literary agents in the world, where I learned from a top media consultant how to pitch PR and do my own bookings and get myself speaking gigs and on local news and on podcasts. I learned that from someone. I had someone mentor me. I had someone mentor me on how to get better at speaking. I had a mentor for telling my story. I reached out to top people like Bob Proctor. I developed mentorship relationships with them. And you can do this very easily with a very simple message or a phone call to somebody. And they might just be that they have a successful chain of liquor stores and they own all the buildings. So really they're a real estate investor, and then they put businesses out and you want to get into that. They could be anything, but as long as it's something that you want to learn from, and you just say, hey, I was hoping that maybe you could please mentor me. I know you're very, very busy, and so I basically had like 1 or 2 simple questions. I was wondering if maybe we could grab a cup of coffee, or I could help you around the shop or whatever. And most of them will say yes, some will say no, but most will say yes. And you develop an open door that allows you to learn the business or the skill. You go work at this guy's office who's trying to build an app, and you're just like, I'll do all your dirty work. Just tell me what to do. You don't even need to pay me. I'll stick around for the next 14 days and I'll help out. You just whatever you can do to develop a relationship with someone who is successful at that skill, that habit, that business, that idea, and just try to get around those people. And for so many reasons, it ends up being something that significantly cuts your learning time. So you yield results a lot faster than normal. I mean, quite frankly, I think that an aspect, in order to get your college degree, there should be 1 year of mentorship. I'm not talking about just like internship where they lock you in the corner and you staple papers and you don't talk to anyone. I'm talking about real mentorship where you see what happens in your chosen field. There should be 1 less year of 4-year study in normal classroom setting. So 3 years in the classroom setting, and I think 1 year should be a real experiential mentor program. Because that's how you get good at stuff. The next thing to consider is following Albert Einstein, who said that it's important to not allow your schooling to interfere with your education. So that being so, whatever it is, whether it's coding, artificial intelligence, bookkeeping, blah, 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 find out what it is or something you're interested in learning more about. Go onto Amazon or onto Audible and buy your first 2 or 3 books on that subject and read one every single week. So if you were trying to learn accounting, you could actually teach yourself accounting if you studied. If you're trying to learn how to do coding, I don't know, read a book every single week on it. So the goal is 1 book a week on the chosen subject. And what you'll find is when you're young enough, what happens is the compounding effect of starting to submerge yourself into something becomes that by the time you're 27, by the time you're 28, by the time you're 29, by the time you're 30, you know something really, 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 really well. And most people are generalists. They know a lot of things a little bit. To become really successful, to get really good at something, you have to know 1 or 2 things really well. Not many things, kind of well. 1 or 2 things really well. This is based off of you. right? Because you might be like, well, the last one you talked about mentors, but I don't know anyone and everybody says no to me. Okay, fine. Go get a book. That's the best mentors you can get. And make this the goal. 1 book a week on your chosen subject. That's 52 books in a year on coding, or 52 books in a year on investing, or 52 books in a year on accounting, or 52 books in a year on digital marketing, 52 books in a year on social media and or YouTube and how to do digital marketing and online advertising, or 52 books on how to build a business, or how to do the makeup, how to do your makeup better for your makeup tutorials that you're trying to sell and your consultation service you're trying to build. You'll be really good at something. The reality is right now, you're actually in the best position ever. You know, a lot of times people don't start businesses and things like that because they get afraid when they're younger. And the reality is right now, there's just not going to be the jobs that there was 5 years ago when people are getting out of school. There's just not right now in the economy because there's so much negative GDP. There's so many companies that are losing all their money and all their revenues. So you can look at this 2 ways. You can go, oh, I'm screwed and I went to college and I did all these things and now there's not going to be a job for me. Or you could go like this and say, wow, this is the best thing that ever happened to me because now what's the worst that could happen? I need to start a business. I need to get good at a certain entrepreneurial skill. I need to be involved in something that could drastically increase my income ceiling because that's how I'm going to get rich. That's how I'm going to make a lot of money in a quicker period of time. And I don't have a lot of risk because heck, what's the worst that could happen? We're already in this situation where all my classmates and peers are probably going to be struggling to find a job. We're already in this situation where there's going to take a while for the economy to reboot and rebuild. We're already in this situation where I'm probably not going to be back in the traditional classroom setting, in the classroom, in the desk with everybody for quite some time. Okay, I could be like, oh, or I could say, wow, this is the best time ever for me to risk it, for me to get good at something, for me to start a business, for me to get my 2 or 3 smartest other students that I could think of. Maybe one of them is really good at marketing and you have an idea. Well, you two should partner. Maybe someone's really good at sales and somebody else has an invention. Find the 1 or 2 smartest kids that you know and start working at it to get good at it, because I can assure you 10 years from now, you will look back and you will be really happy that you started, right? There's a quote that I've heard Tony Robbins say a lot in conclusion, and he says that most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year, and they underestimate what they can accomplish in 10. So if you're 17 years old, 18 years old, if you're 23 years old and you're just getting out of school, if you're still in college or you're in junior college and you're 20 years old, 1 year from now doesn't matter, but getting on the right map, getting on the right income earning map right now is going to be the determining factor where 10 years from now, when you're 29, when you're 27, when you're 32, it's going to be the determining factor of whether you are out earning all of your peers, all the other people in your generation who walk down the wrong income earning model. You have nothing to lose and you have everything to gain. So this is Jake Ducey with I Love Prosperity. Thank you for watching this video. If this video speaks to you, make sure you hit the like button on the side and leave a comment down below. My income earning is up to me. Comment that down below. My income earning is up to me. Comment that down below. My income earning is up to me. And if this video provides utility or value to you, you can let the YouTube algorithm know to send it out to more people by leaving a comment down below, hitting the like button. Thank you for subscribing, and can't wait to hear about the great things that head your way as you start to apply this information.